So what did you experience, Nishma?
Oh, me. Well, so the thing is, I do consider myself like a spiritual person, but I'm not that woo-woo, Like I don't see things.
What does it mean to be spiritual and not woo-woo?
Okay, woo-woo being as in
Not crazy.
not too crazy. Like I see this, I see that. Like I'm not in that level.
So is crazy a good level or what?
I guess I don't know.
You're trying to get to crazy. Right?
But people who are crazy, they've asked you questions like, how do I stop this? So I guess it depends if you can actually be strong.
Some people entering into the dark side.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want that. Well, basically, I haven't experienced in that level yet. But today, when we did the whole breathing meditation, for the first time, I think I saw something. Namaste everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Awakening Your Consciousness. And in this episode, I'm joined with Master Sri Akarshana.
Namaste everybody.
And the I'm Creator team, we have Josh.
Namaste.
And Man.
Namaste.
And my name is Nishma. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about spirituality, law of attraction, manifestation, or anything that can help you improve this year and make this your best year yet. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, we're currently going through a 108 journey with Master Sri Akarshana, and it's very powerful. Today was actually a very powerful day where we did a meditation and initiation with everyone. So I know I had a very powerful experience, and it was a very interesting one. But before I share my experience, I would like to know what your experience was today. I know Man was on AV the whole time, so I don't know how your experience was, but we'll get back to you later. First, Josh. What was your experience like? Could you share?
Thank you. I'm actually very intrigued to hear what Man's perspective was from seeing it from the outside.
Thank you, Josh. So whilst we were, well, when I say we, me and Kaina was, overlooking everything, making sure that the event's going okay. It's very interesting to see the different types of practices and what is needed leading up to the initiation.
When you're not actually in it, and you're watching the initiation, it must look kind of a little trippy, a little freaky.
It's a bit freaky, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember when I first seen other people do initiations and things, it was always, I guess, anything that's outside of the norm. From the outside, if you're not in it, you're not experiencing any dimension traveling or any visuals. You are just literally seeing humans acting weird. Yeah. Like literally pumping their chest and breathing very heavily and all this type of stuff, right?
Exactly. Like the first experience I've had with the initiation, I was in the initiation myself. So having to be able to see, the outside of it is very interesting, My thoughts on, the meditation, very straining. People think meditation is, you sit down, namaste, breathe in, breathe out. But the thing that Master is teaching us and the practices that we have to go through, it's not us doing meditation, that way. It's meditation doing us, in that sense. Now,
that was a very conscious line. If nobody got it,
very conscious line. So whatever comes through me just comes out. So pardon my my French, but yeah, it's very very interesting. Practice meditation initiation to witness. So it was very powerful. What's your thoughts on it, Josh?
Similar to us, to be fair. Like, I know one of the things that we have here is like, when I was younger, I used to look into like near-death experiences, like traveling out of body and stuff like that. And a lot of people obviously have to take some sort of like external like substance or something. So I guess it must be if you was to see someone, I don't know, take something like that, and then you see them do stuff like that, then you'll be like, okay, kind of. But then to see someone just like normally just do whatever we were doing earlier to get that experience, it must have been quite an experience for you, bro. But from my perspective, it was definitely something, like different sensations, different things, like just from breathing. It's
I think that is always the beginning. I mean, it will always evolve from there. And the more we practice, the more we become aware of what is that thing. That's why a lot of the time during these, especially in the early days, I mean, we're on day 5 of the spiritual journey, I think. And we can only say for people to witness the feeling. Most will not have a clue what the feeling is. And most will still question at this time, am I making up this feeling or is it a real feeling? Mm-hmm. You know? And I think that, but that is the question to ask. Like we always say, with questions comes answers. And I think that from the moment we start asking that question, then we start opening our hearts, our minds to the possibility that it is something more than just our brain making something up. And once we surrender mind, then our soul actually can deep dive into deep meditation, or we can say dimension traveling.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's almost like experiencing it with, imagine like in this reality, your eyes are closed and then someone, I don't know, touches you or someone does something to you. I guess it's kind of like that, where your spiritual eyes might be not as open as they could be. So then you experience things, but it's kind of like, what is it? What does it mean? So who do we ask those questions then? Do we just ask them in our mind and just be open, or?
Asking in our mind is already a good question, because it means if we take our questions to the next meditation, it could be a possibility that we start seeking, because we want to know, what was that shape I seen? Is it more than just a shape? What was the flashing light? Is it more than a flashing light? So just by doing that, it also helps. Obviously, if you are working with a master or a spiritual teacher or someone who has gone through the journey, they'll be able to give you a little bit of a shortcut, a little bit of a hint. Actually, you don't need to ask that question because that's nothing, and this part is something, you know. So yeah, I think if people have that access, then they ask that question. Otherwise, by asking themselves, you can also dive deeper. It may just take a little bit longer, but you'll get there. Mm-hmm.
So what did you experience, Nishma?
Oh, me. Well, so the thing is, I do consider myself like a spiritual person, but I'm not that woo-woo, you know? Like, I don't see things.
What does it mean to be spiritual and not woo-woo?
Okay, woo-woo being as in...
Not crazy.
Not too crazy. Like, I see this, I see that. Like, I'm not in that level.
So is crazy a good level or what?
I guess... I don't know.
You're trying to get to crazy. Right?
But people who are crazy, they've asked you questions like, how do I stop this? You know, so I guess it depends if you can actually be strong.
Some people entering into the dark side.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want that. Well, basically, I haven't experienced in that level yet. But today, when we did the whole breathing meditation, for the first time, I think I saw something, because I felt all the energy in my head, and I saw something that looked like a shape of an eye just pop up, and then I got scared for a second, but I thought, okay, just witness, but it disappeared very quickly. And then there was something like a hand.
You see that's one part as well. When we get scared, then it disappears.
Yeah.
Because we're out, we come out.
Yeah, I was questioning it at that time. Like, I let my mind, like my thoughts roll. And then it disappeared. And then after a while, I saw like a hand with writing something with a feather. And then it disappeared again, because I let my mind question again. Like, what is that? So, and I remembered after that you said you need to just witness. So I guess it's just the initial first phase for me. For those of you who've never experienced anything like this.
So has that created curiosity for you to know what that thing was and what was happening?
Yeah, I did write in my journal right after you mentioned, write whatever you experienced and questions you have. So
because next time, let's say tomorrow, when we go into a similar meditation, you can actually take that question and take that visual into the meditation to attempt to achieve entering into that dimension again, to see the same thing. But this time to not be scared of it, and to allow more answers to come, and to witness, what is it writing? Where is it writing? Who is writing? Whose eye? Why is it looking that way? When we start witnessing, then without bringing ourselves back to human, because I remember after the session, you also said one line, which is a very common line, which is, I don't know whether, what did you say? I don't know whether I was making it up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether it was me just making the visual up or I actually seen it. But what I said was, if before the meditation, you said, you know what, let's visualize a pen, let's visualize an eye, then that's when you make something up. Mm-hmm. If your mind does not focus on something, but something appears, where does it appear from? Mm-hmm. You see, at that point, so we need to understand what we see is there. Obviously, what we make up in our mind is there also. But everybody is very clear, did I go into that visual purposefully? Mm-hmm. And if it's just out of the blue, I see something, well, why am I seeing this? Then you did not create that visual. Mm-hmm.
So why does it appear? Is it like a message? Or is there a particular reason why we see things? Like certain things?
Yeah, so because of the meditation we did today was for the energies to connect with each individual. It was open. Today, Master did not guide to say we are doing it to manifest a certain thing. Did not do it to say we are going into past life, or did not do it we are going into future. It was open. This was inviting, just to say energies, allow whoever at whatever level to see whatever is necessary for the next step of their consciousness journey. And that is all that's required at that time. Yeah, because actually, Nishma said something. You went to see Sadhguru, I think, a few years ago.
A year and a half.
A year and a half ago. She said that during the meditation, you had this experience where you were crying, very emotional and all this type of stuff. And you were saying that actually after that, it didn't really come back again or nothing like that, right? No experience like that again. And she asked, why? Why was I crying there? What actually happened? What did I see? I say everything that happens is purely just if we get access to the energies, somebody opens up that portal for you to access, and you get a glimpse of something, it already guides you. For example, maybe she's sitting here right now for that reason. If you think about it, if you went to some spiritual event and then they give you some meditation, you sat there for a few hours, actually not a few hours, that's like a 2-day, full days. You sat there for 2 whole days and you didn't get anything out of it, you probably would lose interest even in any spiritual topic. So that connecting to even watching our videos, to being here and everything, there needs to be a glimpse. Sometimes the meaning is that simple. The meaning is just, I need you to know there is something that is beginning. You know, unless the meditation is actually guiding towards a specific door for a specific reason. Like if we say, hey, I'm going to show you through this door, with this key, we're going to show you who you are in a different dimension. Then you know that's not a sign, that's not anything. You can't mistake it for anything else. That is actually your existence there.
I think it's almost like a breadcrumb trail, isn't it? And when you think about it, like how, I guess the consciousness above us kind of thing, or that expanded consciousness, for obviously it sees so much, like it knows so much, like to leave just like literally a breadcrumb to make you question more, to make you go on that journey. And I guess people watching this might be thinking like, how do you get to that point where you start seeing things or being guided? And I know one thing that I kind of had a realization today was almost like, you know, when you think of like mind, it's almost like, because you say when you see something, witness it, but then our human minds are trained to like almost like analyze it, right? And that's when, like Nishma said, you get pulled back from it. So you kind of see it, you analyze it, but then it pulls you back. So then the question is like, how are you meant to like be with that thing if you can't analyze it? But then it's almost like a different mind. Is it like almost like a spiritual mind kind of thing where, because at the same time, you kind of need to be with it, but I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's almost like a gear switch.
It is very subtle.
Yeah.
The difference is very subtle.
Yeah.
We cannot say when we are not, because we are witnessing, where things are happening, we're witnessing. Not only that, we are not just witnessing, we are focusing. Like we cannot, like we see something moving or we see some eyes and we say, okay, ignore it. The moment you ignore it, you're out. So we are at the same time, we're focusing, but we are focusing effortlessly. Because then there's that very, very fine line of I'm focusing on that thing and then I'm trying to get something out of it. Then that's the human mind trying to get something out of it. And again, you get pulled back into human. So the moment we use human mind, we come back. It's, but this is what we explain when we say in dreams, we do it the best way. We do it. I mean, if I was to, I mean, all of you have experienced before going back into dream that you enjoy, right? Like you got woken up and you're like, no, I'm going back into that dream, right? Okay, so if I was to ask you, how do you do it? What is your process? If you had to break it down for people, this is the instruction manual of how to enter back into dream. What would your instruction manual say? Step one?
Step one is, I see what you're saying, because it's like, step one is you want to go back to sleep, right? But then you can't force it, because if you're forcing it, then you're still awake.
Yeah, a lot of the time you're like, no, go back to sleep, go back to sleep, go back to sleep, and you never get back to sleep, right? So that's happened to everyone before. So we can't try too hard. So what is the step then?
Relax
Right.
into sleep.
Relax.
Relax.
Think about
See the visual, yeah, see the visual.
Exactly. So you see, you try to remember what was the last thing that happened, right? Because also you are very afraid, are you not, at those moments of forgetting dream? Because you've experienced so many times you forget dream, and you're like, you don't want to relax too much to not think about dream on what happened. Otherwise you're thinking, what if I forget and I can't even get back in, right? What was it about? So now you're thinking about the thing, but you're relaxed.
It's like a relaxed alertness kind of thing. Don't question me on that.
Yeah. So I think it's because we have all experienced that before, actually, because when we talk about dream, we talk about dream dimension. We cannot deny dream is a different dimension. Whether you call it fake or real, whatever, it's up to you, but it's a different dimension. You are not in this dimension, this physical reality. You are not, people walk in your room and walk out and you don't know, so you're not in this dimension. Meditation is, if you go deep dive in meditation, you go different dimension. How we enter is very similar way.
So would you say that dimension, let's say that dimension Josh, can try to come into this dimension? Like obviously there's loads of different
That dimension Josh is already in this dimension. If this dimension Josh is in different dimension, then that dimension Josh is already in this dimension.
But
because
I mean,
all dimension is linked.
consciously, could they be aware there? Okay,
They do, they come in all the time. But that's why you're here now. So that version of you has came into here. You're here now. So this is, I think this is the thing where there's this quote, there's this saying, I forget who said it, I think it was Rumi or someone, who said that the moment we die, we wake up. And so it's like that. We call that dream, they call this dream. By the way, they is not anybody else, they is you. On the other dimension, you say, okay, let's go to dream. Now you're in dream.
Man's looking like what?
I mean, it makes sense. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like,
we always say to weird people it makes sense. To normal people it makes no sense at all.
yeah, like when you're absorbing it at fun, you're like, is this truth? Is this like, you know, what is actually happening? Because physically you can't see it happening. Like whenever human mind comes into the game, you're always questioning. Is this legit? Is this something that is even possible? You know? But once we've released that thought of everything is possible, then it becomes a different game. And that's what's most beautiful, is like anything is possible. But I think whilst this conversation was happening, I think one thing that I was thinking about is, you know, the process of initiation. what does it mean to be initiated? Because I believe, some people who are watching this are thinking, what's initiation? What do I do to be initiated? Like, what's the whole process from your perspective, Master?
We say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. We say when the disciple is ready, the master appears. So in the right time, people will get the opportunity. If they feel it's right, when they know it's right, they will get that opportunity. Initiation, I would say master's role is purely just to allow, to put this message through. I think that because of certain authorizations that have been given, permissions have been given, then we can speak to universe on a different level to ask and say, this group of conscious spirits and souls are ready. Let me give them a pass, guide you to the door, and you guys can go with the energies, to know more about existence and everything. And I think that sometimes people can look at this and say, this sounds too, whether people think it's religion or whether people think it's God and spirits and evil spirits and devil and all this type of stuff, people will always talk. What they don't know, they will speak, they will judge. They've never done it before, they will judge, or they will relate it to something else they've seen, But I think one question to always ask yourself is, who are you? Are you of a positive nature? Are you of a positive vibration? Or are you of a negative hate vibration? Because you attract what you are. If you class yourself as a positive spirit, positive soul, and you are attracted to a certain video or questioning, I think a lot of the time you see the practices. When we do the practices, we need to ask ourselves the question, wait, are we guided to go out and spread hate or anger or frustration, or are we guided to love and light and positivity? And if it's love and light and positivity, then what is there to be afraid of? And I think it's very important for people to understand that, instead of associating or automatically linking it to some sort of cult practice or something like that. That is, yeah.
I think also one thing about the initiations is when someone's initiated with Himalayan pranam, whereas with someone else who's initiated with Bihamari, what's the purpose behind being initiated for different purposes? Is the journey is like being initiated
each energy, each practice will give you different powers. So initiation is purely like a teacher teaching you different skills. So teaching you one skill that will get one type of result, teach you a different skill, give you a different type of result. We call initiation because it's much deeper than just a teacher teaching knowledge, because there's a lot of energies that are involved.
So would the student accumulate all of the different powers through initiations, or would they be able to access the different parts by just one initiation?
Both. So Master can initiate what Master has permission for initiating. Then once a spiritual being, a soul, a special soul, embarks on the journey and they start understanding the authorities and everything like that, there's certain things they can ask for direct also, and to be able to get different knowledge. When we talk about masters, physical master is only one thing, because then we say in energy form masters, and that's why whenever we hear Grandmaster talk about it, he's saying he has how many masters, and most of them are energy masters in energy form. Only 3 to 5 is physical humans, because when you get access to that, you can get initiations from there also.
Yeah. I think the most beautiful part about this show is, you know, being able to ask, you know, a spiritual master questions, because, you know, not every day can you sit down and, you know, ask questions about spirituality, law of attraction, manifestation. You know, reading on Google, you wouldn't find any answers like this. So being able to have an environment where you're actually, you know, asking questions. Obviously, you know, the quality of your questions is the quality of your answers. So, you know, for people being on this 108 journey, you know, I think it's a true blessing for them to be able to, you know, be under the guidance of a master, to be able to answer those, you know, questions that maybe in the whole life they've been trying to figure out. You know, what's my clarity? What's my purpose? What's my, you know, reasons of existence? So, you know, being able to be in this setting where it's, you know, just the four of us is pretty blissful. I don't know if anyone else.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's obviously very, like, we're very grateful to be in this presence, and as I'm going through all this experience, like, I have this urge to tell my family, like loved ones, close ones, family members, friends, what I've been experiencing and how it's been making such an impact in my life. But, you know, like, they don't understand, right? But where is the limit? Like, how much can you push? Like, hey, this is what it is. Like, because we always say we're going to try to bring people into this consciousness journey. But then you also say there are people who are stuck with their belief and you should just let them be and not. Yeah. So what is the, how much, when do we know that, okay, you know what, I'm done with this person. They're not going to understand.
we would speak our truth when it's required.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, our goal is not to go out there and preach. So we don't need to go out there and preach. We just be ourselves. We live our truth. The right people will always come to us, like everybody who's watching today also. They'll come to us. They'll be watching. The right people will then comment. The right people will then connect. The right people will then subscribe. They'll connect. So we don't need to go out there preach.
Yeah.
It's not our mission, because at the end of the day, it's all about everybody is about their happiness, and we cannot get frustrated in the act of trying to help anybody else, because if we don't work on self-love first, where do we have the capacity to love others and help others? So everybody keep a positive mind, positive spirit, be the best version of you. Naturally, you attract the right people into your life. Keep spreading positivity, love, and kindness, and keep moving forward with that.
That's beautiful. And I think we can keep talking more and more about this topic. This is never ending. I have so many more questions, but we'll save that for a later time, another episode. So guys, that's it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you enjoyed, or what were your thoughts regarding this topic, or what would you like us to talk about more in the next video. And please do share this video as well. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much.
Namaste.